Right now at 5, the Carter City Council considers censoring one of its members.
And it's another foggy start across the area and foggy conditions through the day. We'll take a look at that forecast, get you out the door coming up.
Plus, art advocates in Joplin strategize before meeting with Missouri lawmakers on funding the arts in the Show Me State.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning, 4 states, and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5 a.m. I'm Amber Jenkins.
I'm Chris Warner. So we were actually just watching clips from WGN in Chicago.
Yeah.
Their morning show, and thankfully it's not the case here, runs like 6 hours straight, okay? It's a lot of people. They do a lot of crazy things. And we're looking at some of the stuff. We're like, one of these days, we might see if there's something we could do. Now, don't get me wrong. They're Chicago, okay? They have money and people that we will never have. And there are things they could probably get away with that I don't think that we could.
Right.
But there are some things that they do that might amuse you at home.
I mean,
here,
we try to keep them entertained here in the 4 states.
We do try. I mean, it's 5 o'clock in the morning. Come on, you got to have something to wake you up, right?
That's true.
And that's what we're here for. We're going to wake you up right.
With the KOAM Morning News.
Yes, that is exactly what we're going to do. Well, let's wake you up with the right weather. Well, that's not the right weather. This is not the way we want to start our day again. But if we look outside, our camera on the Cornell Complex, it's foggy again. I promise you, this is not a pre-recorded weathercast. We didn't tape yesterday, and we're not running it again today. It just looks the same. It is still dense fog out there, again, across parts of the area. Now, compared to yesterday, the dense fog's a little more patchy than it was yesterday, but at least in the Joplin Metro, look at the MoDOT cameras around the city. You can see that dense fog is out there. So, again, a reminder, use your low beams, not your high beams, fog lights if you have them, and a quick reminder, with the fog lasting into the afternoon, a lot of vehicles these days have those auto headlights, and I'm sure most of you leave it on auto. Well, if there's daylight, they're not going to turn on. So you need to switch them on manually because you still need to run your headlights during the fog into the afternoon once the sun comes up. Cloudy skies out there, a few showers here and there. We had some showers overnight. We have a few showers lingering off to our west, and then we'll see additional drizzle, fog, and shower chances as we go through our Wednesday. Taking a look at the fog tracker, there's this weird strip right through here. I mean, the fog is still heavy out there, but not nearly as dense as it is on either side of it. And as such, we do have those dense fog advisories across the entire area again today in same expirations. Missouri, Kansas, noon. Oklahoma, Arkansas, they run until 10 a.m. That was delayed, but there they are. These are the cameras. So see, in Pittsburgh, the fog is there, but it's not as dense as it is in Joplin, at least not right now, but that'll very likely change. 38 and 37. Kids getting on the bus this morning, fog to contend with. 38, northwest breeze at about 5 to 10. When that bus brings them home, we're talking mid-40s again out there. Northeast breeze 5 to 10. Still some patchy fog possible, and that's going to be our trend. Patchy fog, some drizzle, maybe some isolated showers. Temperature similar to yesterday, though, as we go back around the mid-40s. We have more rain chances on the way, and the warmer weather not letting go. We'll look at that full forecast here in just a few more minutes. Amber?
Thanks, Chris. People in a number of areas and communities have been dealing with delays in their trash service caused by recent wintry weather. That includes some customers in Miami, Oklahoma. A trash service there says while situations like the weather and holidays can throw off the service schedule, they recommend customers stick to the regular routine.
Have their carts out on time. That is the big thing all the time. If they have them out, when we come by, so we don't have to try to make another trip back if their trash is missed. Yesterday with the ice, we didn't run residential route. We pushed it back a day, but it will be picked up this week. It'll just be one day behind.
Trash companies in a number of area communities have dealt with schedule changes because of the combination of factors in recent weeks. First the holidays, then bitter cold, and then snow and ice. A Cassville, Missouri man faces felony charges for a scam in which he allegedly impersonated a law officer. Investigators say 37-year-old Gerard Archer contacted a Cherokee County resident by phone, claiming the resident's co-worker was in custody and that the resident needed to send a bond payment. Authorities arrested Archer in Alwa County, Oklahoma. Firefighters battle an afternoon structure fire in Coffeyville, Kansas. Upon arrival, responders witnessed heavy fire conditions from multiple sides of the building. Crews managed to extinguish the fire but remained on scene for additional 2 hours. One occupant was transported to the hospital in serious condition. The other occupant was uninjured. The cause of the fire is still under investigation. The Carthage City Council proposes a resolution to censor one of its members. The resolution was discussed in last night's council meeting. KOAM spoke with Tiffany Causey, the council member in question, and Greg Dagnan, the city administrator, before the meeting. According to Causey, the resolution is a consequence of things she said in city council meetings and posted on her Facebook page.
I feel that it's just another tactic by people who have something that they would like the public not to know. I think that they are trying to stop me from participating in city government. I think that they are trying to stop me from getting my message out. I think they're trying to stop me from asking questions.
Plan at this point is everybody from the council, because they're part of our legislative body, they did receive the information from the HR investigation. So we'll probably go into closed session just to see if they have any questions. I personally expect that to be probably fairly short. And then the actual, whether they censure or whether they don't, that will all have to be decided in a public setting.
According to Dagnan, a censor is an opinion of the council that they disagree with the councilperson's action. It needs to be passed by a majority of votes. Causey has been on the council for over a year and her term expires in 2025. Before the meeting yesterday afternoon, we tried reaching out to all of the council members, but only 2 answered their phones. David Armstrong said he had no comments. Alan Snow said he had no interest in giving an interview. Art leaders in Joplin came together yesterday to discuss strategies to advocate for the arts in our area. KOAM's Anthony Saviello has more.
The old saying goes, art imitates life. The key to a good art project, just take the first step. For these community members, that first step is to make sure that art is continuously supported in our community.
Who better to speak for the arts than yourself as an arts lover? You know, the legislators need to hear how the arts have impacted your community. If nobody talks about it, then they'll never know, and they won't continue the funding that we get through the Missouri Arts Council for statewide funding for the arts.
This roundtable is more than just a discussion. It's a necessary step to advocate to Missouri state legislators.
We receive Missouri Arts Council grants each year, and we really count on that for our operational support. And so it makes a lot of sense for us to help Missouri Citizens for the Arts and advocate on the Missouri Arts Council's behalf to the legislature.
From art galleries to theater productions, these leaders make it their priority to see that art in Missouri gets the recognition it deserves.
So there's a lot of event-related spending when it comes to the arts. So let's just take, for example, going to the theater. Well, maybe before you actually purchase your ticket, you decide, oh, I want to look really nice. I want to buy this specific outfit to go to the theater. So you are spending money at a local boutique, finding a dress. Then you have some kids. You got to find some childcare for the kids, and you got to, pay a babysitter.
Though there might not be any singing and dancing happening right now, the first step to securing support is being taken. Reporting in Joplin, Anthony Saviello, KOAM News.
Missouri Arts Advocacy Week is February 5th through the 9th. During that time, art representatives will make a journey to Jefferson City to speak face-to-face with state lawmakers. That's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in your first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News. Monday was a nightmare for drivers on Highway 59 in Arkansas, causing drivers to abandon their cars. Plus, a magnitude 7.1 earthquake in western China killed at least 3 people. And we have another foggy morning. We'll have what to expect with Chris Warner in the Skywatch Weather Center. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Charlie Sticklin.
And I'm Sarah Sticklin-McDonald with the Sticklin & Sticklin Law Firm.
And I'm Azubeth.
MTV.
If you or your business have a heart for veterans, please consider joining the battle against veteran suicide. Contact Scotty at Charlie22 to learn about impactful partnerships.
Well, Monday was a nightmare for drivers on Highway 59 in Arkansas. With freezing rain in the early hours, ice covered the pavement, which led to numerous cars stranded on the side of the road for hours. Rachel Williams has the story.
Monday morning, a nightmare on Highway 59. Temperatures below freezing, ice covering the pavement, and numerous cars stranded on the side of the road.
There was a few people up on 59 Highway that chose to stay with their car. They did have blankets with them and stuff. So the fire department would go back and check on them to make sure they were okay.
Butterfield District 5 is a volunteer fire department in Crawford County.
They're putting their life on the line because it was so treacherous out there, to try to make sure everybody was safe.
And to keep everyone safe, the fire department opened up as a warming center.
We started getting reports of accidents on 59 Highway between the station here and Highway 220 West. And so in response to that, we ended up coming on to around 14 vehicles that had gone off into the ditch. It was extremely slick. Even with chains on trucks, we were having difficulty getting traction and moving up and down the highway.
From 1:30 to 7:30 Monday morning, the department received 22 calls, and in those calls, 4 people were injured, and the icy roads led to slower than normal response times.
It probably took around 20 to 30 minutes for us to get on scene from the time that we started getting notifications that there were vehicles that were stranded in the ditch on 59.
Captain Tim Jones says Monday's conditions are among the worst he's seen during his 15 years with District 5.
Well, one of the reasons why I got involved with the fire department is to help the community. It's not just helping people that are in this area. I'm also helping my neighbors and relatives and friends that live in this area.
Jones says 8 people stayed at the station overnight into the morning, with all returning to their cars safely. Thankfully, we didn't get that intense up here, but still had some pretty treacherous conditions on Monday. Well, still to come, why most employees say they would be willing to earn less money if it meant a better work-life balance. We'll have those details. Plus, we're going to take another look at that forecast when the KOAM Morning News returns.
The world is a great big place. It should be traveled and explored.
Judge Judy. Weekdays at 4 on KOAM TV. You're watching KOAM News Now, home of Super Bowl 58.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. It is 5:17 on this Wednesday morning, and it looks a lot like yesterday morning at this time. This is our camera on the Cornell Complex, downtown Joplin. You can see, again, the lights of City Hall, but you can't really see City Hall as we're dealing with dense fog around the metro area. These are MODOC cameras from across the city, and as you can see in each and every one of them, dense fog, something to contend with. Now, I apologize. These have been loading a little slow, but this is the KDOT camera south of Pittsburgh on 69. The fog is a little denser now than it was even just at the beginning of the show. So about 15 minutes ago, that fog has thickened up out there. And taking a look at the fog tracker around the area, you can see where visibilities right along into the north and south of the I-44 corridor. They are less than a mile out there, and it's starting to thicken up across parts of southeast Kansas as well. And so we have another round of dense fog advisories. Kansas, Missouri, these run until noon today. And like yesterday, Oklahoma and Arkansas, they run until 10 a.m. But as we also saw yesterday, just because the dense fog advisories will expire doesn't mean we're going to be quite done with the fog as we head into the afternoon. Skywatch Storm Tracker, a few stray showers out there. We're getting the showers, we're getting the fog, we're getting clouds, we're getting drizzle, and that's going to be the trend again today, similar to what we saw yesterday across the area. Our camera 7th and range line, also quite foggy out there. 38 in Joplin right now, but it feels like 38 as our wind is calm and our humidity is up there at 97%, because remember, when your dew point and temperature are the same, you have 100% humidity, and that's in the end why we've got so much fog out there. Like yesterday as well, the further north and west you go, the cooler it is, so we low to mid-30s, and as you head south and east, we go mid-upper 30s out there, with Monette checking in as the warm spot at 41. Today, again, patchy fog, patchy drizzle, cloudy skies as we go through the day, and then as we head later into the evening and into the overnight hours, we'll start to see another round of showers across the area. And those will continue again through the first half of our Thursday, and then we'll have another pause in shower activity. In fact, Thursday, we're going what we call mostly cloudy, where it's going to be mostly cloudy, but some of us could get a few peaks of sunshine out there, and that will also help us be a little bit warmer as we go into our Thursday as well, before we see some additional rain chances out there. So, foggy conditions, patchy fog, and this is almost a carbon copy of yesterday. We're going to be in the low 40s by late morning. Heading into the afternoon, foggy, cloudy, drizzly, temperatures again right about the mid 40s across the area. And by tonight, showers will return, still some patchy fog through the evening, and maybe some patchy fog overnight as well as we fall back, this time only into the low 40s. Temperatures not moving too much out there. As we look ahead, we're going to go low 50s tomorrow, mid 50s Friday, still some rain chances out there, and we get that gap. And by Friday, rain chances return by the late evening hours and continue into our Saturday. So we do cool down a little bit heading into this upcoming weekend. But take a look at next week. Maybe some additional shower chances out there, but temperatures warming back up into the upper 40s and even low to mid 50s out there with a little more sunshine as well. So not only are we getting the much needed rain, we're also getting a break from that Arctic blast. And we're getting some pretty decent temperatures, and we'll get to see a little bit of sunshine next week. That is a check of your forecast. We will be back with Health Watch right after this.
We choose to be here for many of the same reasons you do. Small communities, honest, hardworking people doing good.
In between. Let our product selection experts help you find it at the Home Store in downtown Parsons.
Topping Health Watch this morning, the American Lung Association is calling out the Biden administration for dragging its feet on a proposed ban on menthol cigarettes and cigars. In the association's annual State of Tobacco Control report out Wednesday, it says failing to finalize the menthol ban will result in more death and disease caused by smoking, especially among black smokers who are most likely to smoke menthols. In October, the Food and Drug Administration sent final rules on the issue to the White House for review. The White House Office of Management and Budget says it has yet to sign off on the FDA's regulatory action. A timetable for the final menthol rule released last month indicated it would be decided in March. The report says the lack of action by the White House on the issue prioritized politics and tobacco industry profits over public health. Most employees will be willing to earn less money if it meant a better work-life balance. That's according to a recent survey by Ford Motor Company of roughly 16,000 people over a dozen companies in countries, including the U.S. According to the results, globally, 52% said they would be willing to take a 20% pay cut for a better work-life balance. When it comes to age groups, the millennials and Gen Z were more open to the idea than Gen X and baby boomers. The respondents consider a better working life balance, allowing them more time to themselves or for their families. Well, watch your step this winter. There are more outdoor fall-related emergency visits among older adults this season than any time of the year, according to a study published by the National Institutes of Health. And when it's cold out, you're also at risk for other injuries as well. Manny Gather has more on how to avoid getting hurt this winter weather.
The icy sidewalks, the snow-filled driveways, the weather this time of year can take a toll on your body.
When you're clearing off snow, your lower back takes a lot of that pressure.
Emergency and sports medicine Dr. Mark Conroy with the Ohio State's Wexner Medical Center says to prepare your body before you clear off what winter brings.
The number one thing I recommend to people is they have to warm up. You know, you go out and it's 30 degrees or less outside. Your body's not accustomed to that temperature. Often it can be a big shock.
Conroy says to stretch and loosen up the body before going out. If you're shoveling snow, he says to push it, don't lift it. That can strain your back. Give your body a break. Don't try to do it all at once. Make sure you have the proper equipment. Conroy says a shovel with a bend in the handle can take some pressure off your lower back. Vary your movement so your body doesn't do the same thing over and over, and make sure your body is in the right position.
Feet should be about shoulder width apart. You should be bending at the knees as opposed to bending at your back. trying to keep your back straight.
And be extra vigilant where you're walking outside. Watch for ice and slippery patches. Falls can happen easily and wreak havoc on your body.
There's a lot of musculoskeletal injuries involved with falling, such as sprains, contusions, and fractures.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Dr. Conroy says also make sure to stay hydrated. When you're bundled up and working outside, you may not realize how much you're sweating, so make sure you're drinking enough water to avoid dehydration. That's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
And we are watching another foggy day across the 4 states. Dense fog out there, dense fog advisories through the morning hours. We'll have another look at your forecast when the KOAM Morning News returns.
Call, click, or visit to reserve your seats. See you at the theater.
Right now at 5:30, Pitt State's president has a new plan to raise money for the school year this year.
And we've got ourselves another dense fog morning out there. Difficult to see. We got dense fog advisories as well. We'll take a look at that forecast. Get you out the door coming up.
Plus, Oklahoma residents were able to give their input on the future economic development of the area.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning, 4 states, and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5:29. I'm Amber Jenkins.
I'm Chris Warner. So another foggy start to the day out there, but it was a little easier to see the station this time.
Much better. I actually turned in last morning was so foggy. I passed the station. I had to turn around and
Yeah, I was going very slow yesterday. As I got into the Kansas side, I'm sure you noticed it was less foggy on the Kansas side than it was in the city in Joplin, but that dense fog spreading across the entire area now. Let's take a quick look outside at the MoDOT cameras around the metro area, and you can see where that fog is out there. It is dense across the city, so you definitely need to slow down, give yourself time to get where you're going, use your low beams, not your high beams, and a reminder, this fog is going to hang around like it did yesterday. So once we get into the daylight hours, if you have those automatic headlights, you need to manually flip them on because they do need to be on in the fog, but because there's daylight, they won't turn on because they don't know there's fog. They don't understand that concept, so they say, oh, it's bright enough, you don't need the lights anymore. So just make sure you turn them on manually. All right, Skywatch Storm Tracker, a few isolated showers. We got the fog, we got clouds, we got patchy drizzle out there, and later tonight we'll see additional shower activity roll into the area. Fog Tracker showing that dense fog continuing to spread and fill this gap. There was a whole gap right through here, and it's beginning to fill in. Visibility's dropping out there. Many of us below 1 mile visibility. Grove reporting 0. So, as such, dense fog advisories again. Kansas, Missouri until noon. Oklahoma, Arkansas again until 10 a.m. today. We're sitting at 38 in Joplin. You can see the fog increasing there south of Pittsburgh as well, sitting at 37. Kids getting on the bus, they're going to have to contend with that fog, and we're talking about 38 degrees. Northwest breeze around 5 to 10. Northeast breeze this afternoon, about 44 by the time the bus brings them home. Still some patchy fog out there. So patchy fog, patchy drizzle, a couple isolated showers as we go through today, but similar to yesterday in terms of temperatures, right around the mid-40s out there. There's more rain on the way, and there's even warmer temperatures on the way. And we'll talk about all that in the full forecast here in just a few more minutes. Amber?
Thank you, Chris. Miami, Oklahoma residents yesterday were able to give their input on the future economic development of the area. The Miami Area Economic Development Service yesterday held a public forum to discuss an action plan for Alwa County. Residents learned about research done in the area to give their thoughts on what's best for their region.
A lot of things that we need to work on. We know that we have a housing problem here in our community. We need more jobs. We need some workforce development issues addressed. We're looking at not only creating more jobs, but it's how you go about creating those jobs. Do you want more retail? Do you want manufacturing? Do you want a combination of both? So what we want to know is, well, what do our residents want?
I'd like to recognize some of the topics discussed include acquiring more land for industrial expansion and job growth. After biking across Kansas last year, Pitt State's president has a new plan to fundraise for the school this year. Dan Shipp yesterday announced plans to golf across the 4 states. It's an attempt to raise $3 million for scholarships for student athletes. From May 13th through May 24th, Shipp will golf at 8 courses throughout Kansas, Missouri, Oklahoma, and Arkansas.
We try to really focus and walk our talk at Pitt State. And so we make life better through education. That's our mission. And so I think it's my job is to really be a good role model and get involved in supporting our students. So no task is too big to support them to get to the finish line.
All of the money raised during the trip will support the school's Silverback Fund. High school students from all over the area came to Pitt State yesterday for an FBLA competition. FBLA stands for Future Business Leaders of America. It's a chance for students to show off their skills in a variety of fields, including business ethics, event planning, and broadcast journalism, which was judged by our very own Tanya Bach.
Which the judges are there to help them improve their skills, not looking to figure out who are you not going to hire for the job.
I think that it's so important to develop these qualities early on in life, and I think that it will help prepare myself for the future.
There were a total of 395 students from 16 schools scheduled to compete. That's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. A Supreme Court ruling is putting added pressure on lawmakers to pass an immigration plan. Plus, Israeli Prime Minister is vowing what he calls absolute victory following the death of 21 soldiers. We'll have the latest. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
Live closed captioning on KOAM News is sponsored by Aaron Sachs & Associates, proud partner of Travis Kelce and his foundation, 87 and running.
Topping World Watch, a Supreme Court ruling is putting added pressure on lawmakers to pass an immigration plan. Emmy Kelly has their update on their progress.
It's not only affecting the communities here, it's affecting the people into the interior of the United States.
The Supreme Court is letting Border Patrol remove razor wire along part of the Rio Grande. It's from Operation Lone Star, a Texas initiative to stop migrants from crossing into the U.S. A new report says that effort has cost about $10 billion over the past 3 years.
Your schools everywhere in Texas need this kind of attention. Roads all through Texas need attention, our hospitals, our infrastructure.
We're here under the governor's order in order to protect Texas.
The Biden administration is suing Texas to stop its border efforts. It argues immigration is a federal matter, so the new ruling puts more pressure on Congress to address the crisis.
America's national security begins with securing and maintaining our borders.
Senate negotiators are working on a border security bill. They say a sticking point is how to pay for it. Another issue is that House Republicans are pushing for Trump-era border policies. Some say they won't compromise with Senate Democrats.
We're not there yet, but we'll keep going.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
A famous giraffe in Mexico is now at its new home. Benito arrived Tuesday at Africa Farm Safari, a large conservation park in central Mexico, a far cry from his cramped and hot enclosure where he was before. Park officials say they wanted Benito to meet the rest of the herd as soon as possible, saying it will be good for his mental health, adding that he's going to be the next stud. Mexico can now sue a group of U.S. gun makers and distributors. A federal appeals in Boston ruled that Mexico can seek damages against several companies, including Smith & Wesson. Mexico filed the lawsuit in 2021, alleging the gun makers help arm drug cartels. According to the suit, Mexico says the companies market their guns and maintain a distribution system that facilitates illegal trafficking. The three-judge panel found that those claims were exempt from a law that typically protects gun makers from liability. The Mexican government welcomed the decision. No comment yet from the gun manufacturers. A magnitude 7.1 earthquake in West China region killed at least 3 people and caused extensive damage and freezing weather on Tuesday. The quake rocked shortly after 2 a.m. according to China Earthquake Network Center. About 1,000 rescue crew members were able to reach the area and help out by midday. By the evening, authorities reported 3 people had died and 5 were injured, 2 seriously. 47 houses collapsed, mostly in a remote area where the residents built the structures by hand. Newer public housing recently built by the government did not collapse. Israeli Prime Minister is vowing that what he calls absolute victory, calling the following death of 21 soldiers in the deadliest attack on his forces since the Hamas war began. Correspondent Alex Hogan has more details from Tel Aviv.
It's the deadliest attack on Israeli forces in Gaza since the start of the war.
We share the sorrow of their families for the heavy loss and know the pain is unbearable.
The IDF says 21 were killed by Palestinian militants when a grenade aimed at a tank took down 2 buildings, crushing the troops inside. The military claims it's now encircled the city of Khan Yunis, but the UN warns Israeli attacks hit a shelter for displaced civilians, killing at least 6 people. As the death toll soars, the World Health Organization reports that strikes on healthcare facilities are rising as well. And in Jerusalem, families of the hostages are demanding action.
We saw that only through deals the hostages came back alive.
Among the families are Liran, Eli, and Omri, men fighting to bring home their little brothers, Ziv, Gali, Idan, and Evyatar. They're begging the Biden administration and governments of Qatar and Egypt to mediate. According to a senior Egyptian official, Hamas has rejected Israel's proposal of a 2-month ceasefire in exchange for the Israeli hostages. But when a deal is on the table, the brothers say their role is clear.
Our effort in Israel is to press on our government to accept a deal.
No matter what the deal is.
As tensions boil in the region, new tonight, the U.S. says it carried out airstrikes on 3 facilities in Iraq used by Iranian-backed militia. This follows repeated attacks on U.S. personnel in Iraq and Syria.
That's a look at some of your biggest headlines from around the world. We'll be right back.
From the moment you call until you walk through our doors, providing the best medical and dental care in the region.
Quality, compassionate.
Quality, compassionate, affordable care.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. It is now 5:44 on this Wednesday morning. Taking a look at our camera on the Cornell Complex in downtown. Well, you can see the buildings a little bit, but that fog still very dense across the area, and we can see the same thing on the MODOT cameras around the metro as well. So you've got to slow down, give yourself time to get where you're going. Make sure you use your low beams, not your high beams. And this fog will be like yesterday. It will continue into the afternoon hours. And so you want to make sure you switch your headlights to on, especially if you have those auto headlights, because they run off of daylight. If it's bright out, they won't come on. You've got to have them on during the fog. Makes it a little more visible. KDOT camera south of Pittsburgh also showing where that fog is continuing to thicken up out there as well. Fog tracker, Pittsburgh had good visibility. In fact, that's what Amber and I were talking about. Once we crossed the state line, we were able to actually find the station. It was foggy, but not like it was yesterday, but those visibilities dropping out there. And as such, we do have dense fog advisories, Missouri and Kansas until noon, Arkansas, Oklahoma until 10 a.m. today. Skywatch Storm Tracker, a few isolated showers. We're getting some drizzle out there as well in some spots, and we are all, of course, dealing with the fog and the clouds. Our camera 7th and range line also showing that fog. It is 38 in Joplin right now. Calm breeze out there. Humidity is up there as well. And again, if your dew point and temperature are the same, your humidity is 100%. They're only 1 point off of each other. As you go further to the northwest, temperatures initially a little cooler. Yates Center, one of the cold spots at 34, but the rest of us starting to warm into the upper 30s out there. And our temperatures will be similar to what we saw yesterday. Some fluctuations here and there, but nothing major. We're looking at highs into the mid-40s today. The cloudy skies, foggy conditions throughout the day into the evening again, with patchy drizzle, maybe an isolated shower or two. Once we go into the overnight, though, rain will start to work into the area, and we'll have more rain as we kick off our Thursday morning, and that'll last at least through the first half of our Thursday before that begins to exit on out of here, and that'll leave us with mostly cloudy skies. So we could see a few peaks of sun here and there as we head into Thursday evening. So again, today we got to contend with the fog. We're looking at temperatures similar to yesterday into the low 40s by late morning, highs Again, almost just like yesterday, mid-40s out there, drizzle, patchy fog across the area, and of course the cloudy skies. We'll have the fog through the evening as well, so watch out for that. And temperatures don't move much. We're only going to fall back into the low 40s, and we'll see the rain chances continue to increase as we go overnight as well. Again, a few showers for us on our Thursday. However, take a look at Thursday and Friday into the 50s. We'll have a break in the activity, maybe a little more sunshine here and there under mostly cloudy skies on Friday before more rain moves in late Friday into our Saturday. We're a little cooler for Saturday and Sundays. You see, we fall back into the low to mid 40s out there. And then we head into next week, sunshine on Monday, mid-50s for our highs. We get a few additional rain chances Tuesday and Wednesday, and that'll kick our temperatures down at least briefly, but not significantly. And then by the end of next week, looking to return back to the low to mid-50s out there. So we're getting a break from the cold, we're getting some much-needed rain, and we're getting some sunshine here and there. A perfect mix on this forecast. And that is a check of your forecast. We'll be back with more of the KOAM Morning News right after this.
Crossing Casino, Pittsburgh, Kansas. Gambling problem? Getting help is your best bet. Call 800-522-4700. Must be 21 or older.
It's often the simple things that mean the most to people. That's definitely the case for an Ohio man who was surprised to see his Amazon driver offer an act of kindness without any expectations. Nadine Azupa has more to the story.
It's the gentleman. How you doing, sir?
Doing all right. How about yourself, sir?
God bless you.
It was a reunion filled with gratitude.
I wasn't looking for no recognition or anything because I just know that
you were overdue for it.
And disbelief.
I was wondering if I was ever going to meet you again or able to rush to the door to see you.
Don Wheeler and Jaquan Fletcher first crossed paths last week when Jaquan was delivering a package for Amazon to Don's house and provided a bonus service.
I'm coming up and I see that his rampway is snowed in. I'm like, I'll take the stairs, I'll deliver the package, take a picture of it, make sure it's there. I'll look over, I'm like, well, there's a shovel here, so I said I might as well just shovel it for him really quick.
Because Don is limited to a wheelchair, that snowed-in ramp shut him off to the outside world. In the past, it would take him hours, sometimes days to clear himself. But the surprise delivery of Jaquan's simple act of service,
he opened the door and said, God bless you, sir,
restored Don's hope in humanity.
What touched me the most is when I came out and thanked you, you just smiled and kept going. Yeah. You weren't like, hey, tag me on this or tag me on that.
Oh yeah, no.
You
like
just
I said,
kept doing what you wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
So that meant an awful lot. That told me that it came from the heart.
News 5 later learned Jaquan shoveled a couple of the homes in the neighborhood. Why do you do it?
To be as heartwarming towards another human being, a gesture, a simple gesture, a smile, a high five. To me, it was just shoveling snow.
For Jaquan, it's a small deed.
I didn't really think that this would get this popular as much as I thought it would. So I'm just looking out for another human being.
I greatly appreciate it.
While for people like Don, it's the bit of hope he needed.
The world needs a little more of you in it. It touched my heart, and my heart cried in joy.
It was a middle school basketball game that one community in Billings, Montana won't soon forget. A 7th grader student's basket triggered an outpouring of love. Spencer Martin has the details.
Shoot basket.
When you shoot the basket?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And shoot what? And dribble.
And dribble.
Yeah, and make sense.
Today was the first time he's ever made it on the first shot.
A heartwarming moment in Hardin for those who watched 7th grader Kellen Shy make the shot. But this isn't the first time. His mother, Christina, says since 5th grade, players and coaches have helped Kellen get in the game and score. He also plays football. He's on the wrestling team. Anything that involves having fun with his friends.
He just has some really good friends that just are always making sure that he is included in whatever they're doing.
While Kellen's shooting and scoring is great, it's the scene afterwards with all the other players, coaches, and fans that's truly special.
It's his celebration with his buddies afterwards, and It's always fun to see the other team, players on the other teams come celebrate with him too. And he loves to be that center of attention. But yeah, his relationships with those kids are what makes his world go around. Oh, your heart, yeah,
My life, yeah.
yeah, your life,
Yeah.
your life with your friends is your favorite part.
Yeah, when my friends follow me.
When they're excited for you, yeah.
Kellen's mom says it's heartwarming to know that there's so many nice kids out there. We'll be right back.
Hi, Mitch Holtis here. A new year means new beginnings. Briggs Auto wants you to start this year right with a great deal on a new or pre-owned.
Prevention and treatment resources. Counterfeit prescription pills laced with fentanyl are deadly. Be their protector, be informed. Visit GetSmartAboutDrugs.com.
It's a question that has dogged researchers for a very long time. Why do dogs wag their tails? Is it because they're happy, as some people suggested, or is it something else? Animal researchers in Europe have released new findings that propose a different theory. They believe evolution was key. Researchers studied wolves and dogs and found historically that wolves hardly ever wag their tails, but when dogs do, people react in a positive way. So over thousands of years, people were likely attracted to dogs that wagged their tails and wanted to keep that trait when breeding took place.
Some interesting history, to say the least, with dogs. I did not know that. It's so interesting too, after all of this time, the many mysteries that our domesticated and wild animals still hold for us across the world. Some interesting mysteries, and interesting mysteries about us as well. And that's something we'll sort out and we'll leave to the scientists and scholars to figure out. As for us, we're going to deal with fog through the morning. We have dense fog advisories, Kansas and Missouri until noon today, Oklahoma, Arkansas until 10 a.m. But we're going to continue to deal with fog as we head through the rest of today, similar to yesterday. Low 40s by late morning. As we head into the afternoon, we are looking at temperatures into the mid 40s, cloudy skies, some patchy drizzle, an isolated shower or two, and foggy conditions out there. Foggy conditions as we head into the evening as well. So again, want to remind you, use your low beams, not your high beams, fog lights if you've got them. And of course, a lot of modern cars now, they have that auto headlight feature, and most folks probably just leave that on. The only problem with that is it runs off of daylight, and even in fog, it still gets bright outside. It doesn't stay nighttime, and so your headlights will turn off. So you've got to switch them on manually so that you're still visible in the fog out there. Temperatures also don't move much. We're going to go in the low 40s tonight. Looking ahead, 50s for us on our Thursday and Friday. Few showers Thursday, as once the rain moves in tonight, continues for the first half of our day. We get mostly cloudy skies Thursday and Friday. It's where we're a little warmer, might see a little more sunshine out there. Showers will return late on Friday and continue into Saturday, and that does cool us down just a wee bit. No Arctic blast, but a little cooler, back into the 40s. As we head into next week, more rain chances for our Tuesday and Wednesday. Sunshine in abundance on Monday in the mid-50s. We cool off under the rain briefly, and then we return to the low to mid-50s by the end of next week with some partly cloudy skies. Let's check your forecast. We have a whole nother hour of the KOAM Morning News right after this.
Guarantee today's funeral prices. Pre-arrange at Bath Naylor and First